Simple-hearted. When I was in great need, he saved me. Be at rest.
Thank you for joining us. I am Tamara Scott. You're listening in to Truth Our Time in Central Iowa, 99.3 FM. And if you're one of the lucky ones who gets to join us live on Fridays, 10 a.m. Central Time on Webcast One Live Studio. Webcast One Live Studio. We thank Mac for sharing the air and the studio with us. And of course, we're pleased to be on 99.3 FM. It's not often that I start a show with my lines blinking already. All lines are on fire, and we have more waiting. So I'm going to jump right to the phone line. I called this morning. For those of you who are not sure where we're going to head with this, we try to handle the headlines when they come home and help you handle the headlines when they hit home. And so we're dealing with the bathroom policy. So I asked Dr. Laurie Noll from Fairfield High School to join me, and I'll have to give credit because I just called this morning, and I know how busy these superintendents are. I know how many meetings they have, and she's on the phone. So we're going to go to her directly. Dr. Laurie Noll, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on. First off, you don't know anything about me or who I am, and you're just willing to come on the air. That says a lot. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So
one of the reasons I called is I'm hearing concerns about this bathroom policy. And have you implemented it in Fairfield?
There really, I guess, wasn't anything to implement. This has been a law that Iowa has worked on since 2007, and transgender has been a protected class.
Iowa has had the transgender as a protected class. That's correct, but I don't know what law you're referring to.
Well, it's a protected class. So as students have come forward in the past, before President Obama's directive, we have accommodated students.
How do you mean you accommodated them?
Well, we have, as students have come forward and have said we would have a preferred name, a preferred pronoun, we have made those adjustments. We were navigating how to handle the bathroom prior to President Obama's statement.
So I was contacted by folks in your district who feel that just this week you implemented or set in more of a direct policy.
There's not really a direct policy. We are following the guidelines that the Title IX has stated, and that to not discriminate against students, and all protected classes are accepted. And on the other side, we also say that we want all of our students to feel that their privacy is being accommodated. So if any student has an issue, we want to make sure that we are supporting those students as well.
Okay. So what would you say the number of students are that are identifying as transgender or needing protection or special accommodations for the restrooms?
Oh, probably less than 10.
Less than 10. What would you say the number of students are now that are uncomfortable with the idea that the opposite sex may be in their bathroom?
I don't have a number for that. And there have been definite parents and students that have been concerned, and we are calling those parents and talking to those as they come forward. And one thing I would say that with this information, it's bringing to light some issues that have maybe been buried that the administration was not aware of.
Like
and
what?
So it's helping that some students have said that they felt that they were being bullied or that they didn't feel comfortable. And so now we are helping to educate those students on here's the proper way to fill out a form, and if this is happening, we want to investigate it and have a resolution. So we are working through each one of those.
So this week I was told you had students there with black and blue armbands on promoting or proponents of the transgender policy. Is that correct?
That is correct.
About how many students were on that side wearing the armbands?
Again, I don't know an exact number, and I haven't been told that number. And silent protesting is accepted. so they're not crossing the line in any way, so we are allowing that.
And I was also told that there were students who had T-shirts on that had a scripture verse, and they were, how many were there on that side?
A few. I couldn't tell you how many.
And were they allowed the same right to protest?
And some of his T-shirts had a more direct comment, and so they were asked to change their shirt. They looked at what was the intent behind wearing the shirt, and so that was where some of the students were asked to have to take off their shirts.
So what did the shirt say that was so direct that needed removed?
I know one was about birthright equal, and I don't remember all of them. I just saw one shirt that was like birthright equals the bathroom, and again, not exactly correct on what they said. However, the high school administration spoke with the students and made that determination on each shirt.
But they were told to take their shirt. They had to remove their shirts.
Right. We were things that didn't have any messages on it, the armbands, the coloring. We felt that was very appropriate, and it was being a silent protesting, and that was accepted and was within the line of the students and was not a disruption to the school.
But the T-shirts, because they had writing, was a disruption?
Some of the language on the shirts, the administration felt that it was not appropriate, just like we would not allow a student to wear a shirt that has a beer logo on the shirt. We didn't allow the shirts.
So I'm assuming, and I just think it's a pretty safe assumption, that there's a greater number of students that are now uncomfortable and fearful of walking into a bathroom, knowing that, and I've heard that they've already seen boys' backpacks in the girls' bathroom because kids just think it's cool to dare each other to do this now. So there are kids who are now afraid to go into their own bathrooms because they just don't want to run into the other sex there. It's embarrassing. I would guess that number's higher than the few, less than 10, that you have who need accommodation.
And I would say yes. And I would say that we have some students that are trying to push that envelope, and the administration is working with each one of those students and talking to them and making sure that this is truly their preferred bathroom choice and not just pushing that envelope on not understanding the way the Title IX works and the preferred bathroom of what is really the intent. And so it's a learning, it's educating, it's helping the kids say, this isn't really your preferred gender identity. And if it is your preferred gender identity, then let's help you navigate appropriate ways so that you can use a facility so that all people are protected. And we are making accommodations if someone is uncomfortable. We have had some emails from parents or students that said they just don't feel comfortable. And we are saying, okay, let's accommodate you as well. Let's let you have a choice of where you would like to go to the restroom as well. So we are accommodating students as that's coming forward. We have our teachers are more vigilant in the hallway to make sure that we are having students that are feeling safe. And if information is coming forward, the administration is looking at each situation and making sure that it is dealt with and everything is handled.
The Title IX law that you're referring to is back from the 70s, and we have pretty good authority that the legislature, the federal government, when that went through, never intended for gender to be confused with the sex that they were talking about.
Mm.
So,
well, okay, go ahead.
There's not been any law come through Congress. There's not been any change, just one edict out of the executive branch, which is an overstep of the executive branch since all laws should come through Congress. So,
okay. Yes.
So there'd be no reason to start promoting this or following this now. Would you say you're getting more resistance or more reception from your people?
As far as
this bathroom policy?
I would say that we have received resistance from students, and we are going by the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights. And it states that schools across the country strive to create and sustain exclusive, supportive, safe, and non-discriminatory communities for all students. And in recent years, they received an increasing number of questions from parents and teachers and principals and superintendents about the civil rights protecting of transgender students. And so they are saying that it's implementing the regulations of prohibited sex discrimination in educational programming. So that is including that.
I keep hearing the term preferred, and I just want to thank you again for coming on air with us. I keep hearing preferred, and I guess I just wish we could skip the fillings and go to facts. It seems more sensical to me, common sense, costly fiscal-wise, Board of Education, your tax money, that you just go with the plumbing of the child match the plumbing or the bathroom.
That is not what the regulations are requiring on that part, and that's not what compliance with Title IX is stating. And it is about protected class and preferred gender, and it is meeting what the Title IX. We have had discussions with school attorneys and making sure that we are complying and following the guidelines that need to be set forward. And again, it goes back to we want all students to feel safe and protected, and that is why as we are moving forward that we are addressing each concern that students or parents have.
Okay. Well, we are coming down to a break shortly here. I think this is one of the things that's going to push people back to local control. I don't think this is the right use of Title X. I think it's a misinterpretation, a purposeful, intentional misuse of Title X, and it's probably going to cause more damage than good long term with the pushback that we're seeing. Do you have an issue with local control? Would you like to see the schools go back to local control and remove the federal government from forcing these types of things on you?
I would say that we definitely use the federal funding for our school system, and if it's the laws that we have to abide by, we do. Local control at any time when it's close helps to look at your culture and the way that your community sees things, so that it does help on that. The further out you go, sometimes the harder the decision is. But we will follow the laws.
Okay.
Is what we are doing.
So we are out of town. I don't mean to be pushy, but we're running out against a hard break. I want to thank you, Dr. Laurie Noll, for coming on here. That speaks courage of you, and I hope to have more conversations with you, peaceable like we are, because we're both trying to figure out from both sides what we need to be doing for the best interest of the students. Thank you for coming on.
Mm-hmm, thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, I am Tamara Scott. We'll be right back after this break. Our lines are still lit up, and we'll be talking to some more folks who are involved already with the coercion of the bathroom compliance. Stay tuned, 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Much for tuning in. We are having fun. We are live on Friday, 10 a.m. on webcast1live.com, webcast1live.com if you ever want to join us online. And then you get to hear at noon on Sundays. Interesting. I caught me by surprise because I called the school hoping I could get through, but I know how busy they are. I just know how busy they are. And two, if you know that you're going to go on air and have to defend something, whether you're comfortable or not, because you're in the position, it's difficult. So I will give Dr. Laurie Noll credit from Fairfield Community School Districts for coming on our show. I hope that you felt I was respectful with her, because it's never my intent, ever, to bring somebody on the show and rake them over the coals or belittle them, even if we disagree. I could. God gave me a really sharp tongue, and there were years and years and years where I had to really wrestle with the Lord, who gave me this sharp tongue, and then I had to surrender it and subdue it to the Holy Spirit so that I could speak in kindness and in love. And that has been a sanctification process. So I'm thrilled that she was willing to come on, and I hope that you found me respectful. We are on opposite sides of this, but we have to learn what the other side is saying to be able to even talk about things like this peaceably if we're really truly interested in the best for our children. Now, you can have rhetoric, and you can have all of the rantings that a lot of online personalities like to do. Those may be great for ratings, but they don't help build relationships. So I do hope that we can build a relationship with Dr. Noll and the folks in Fairfield and continue to work through this policy. And I'd appreciate your prayers. There is a lot going down in our schools today. They're being used as the hijacking tool for our federal government. And so I'm going to pop on the line next. Let's talk with a student. And we're not going to identify the student. We have a student online who is involved at Fairfield, and I'm thankful that you're online. I don't want you to identify yourself, and I don't want you to give anything away that would be able to characterize who you are that others could identify you, okay? Mm-hmm. This happened earlier this week. Fairfield, did you hear any of the conversation I just had with Dr. Laurie Noll, the superintendent?
I heard what you said, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. Okay.
Well, basically, it's all Title X, and that they have to. And the fact that this state irresponsibly passed a sexual orientation code in 2006. Governor Vilsack pinned that on us, and I did warn people of this very exact issue at that time. Don't know if they remember it or not. But so you're a student in the school, and you just wanted to use the restroom one day, and what took place? Where did you learn this was coming down?
I've never actually witnessed anybody using the bathroom of the opposite sex.
Okay.
But, I've had friends who have seen it and other people who have told me about it, and I just didn't really like the idea of somebody I know being in the bathroom, or myself being in the bathroom with somebody of the opposite sex.
And so some kids at Fairfield wore T-shirts that had a Christian Bible verse on them, and then the back said, love the sinner, hate the sin?
That is correct.
And was there anything else on that shirt that would be what we would call hateful?
I don't think there's anything hateful about it.
And, what did the front say? Did it say Jesus loves you?
Yeah, or one of them said, save the sinner.
Save the sinner.
No, one of them said, Jesus saves.
Jesus saves. So nothing there. So the school and the superintendent agreed. Some of those students were asked to remove their shirts. Why?
I was never given a reason to remove my shirt. They just told me that they wanted to remove it. Me to remove it.
So, but other students were told to remove their shirts.
Yes, that is correct.
And so there we have an issue, I think, of discrimination right there. We have the Tinker versus Des Moines case coming out of Des Moines near the Vietnam War, where kids have the right to protest as long as it's not disruptive. The superintendent's trying to say that your shirts, because they had writing on them, were disruptive. Had you caused any disruption? Was there anything happening in the school day? And again, I don't want to identify you. We now know that you're one of those kids. But had any of those kids caused a disruption, or was there a disruption because of their shirt?
I can't say that there was any disruption caused by the shirts.
What would you what else would you like us to know about the situation?
The Tuesday, all the LGBT supporters started wearing black armbands. And so we went out and started to wear red and white ones in support against the integration of the bathrooms. And a lot of the people wearing the red and white ones were asked to remove them. And then the next day we wore the shirts, and all the LGBT supporters were wearing all blue. And so the people who were against the integration of the bathrooms were wearing all white. And some of us were asked to remove our shirts and stuff like that.
So the kids had been wearing the black and blue. You went to a red and white armband that said nothing?
Yes, that is correct.
And you were still asked to remove those?
Certain people were, yes.
So that's something we didn't know when we talked to the superintendent. Okay. And so the white T-shirts, are those the ones that had the writing on them or no?
Certain ones had writing on them, and others were just white T-shirts.
If they were just white with no writing, were they asked to remove those?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want us to know about this situation?
As far as I know, nobody's really been bullying any of the people supporting the LGBT, but I know that people who have been against the bathrooms being integrated have been called retarded and bigots and homophobes, and my personal favorite, the devil.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The devil, homophobe, bigot, and retarded.
Mm-hmm.
And has the school officials been made aware of this?
Not that I know of.
I would recommend that, because they're certainly, she said, filling out forms of other kids who feel bullied. And I know the other side likes to really tout their victimhood. So I would let it be known that someone has been facing this as well. And I also heard there was pushing going on. Was there pushing going on in the hallways?
I heard something about that, but I don't know much about that.
And I'm not trying to start something that's not there, but these outside federal issues coming in, forcing their way on it, that would not otherwise be there if it weren't for the blackmail of money, federal money, our own money coming back to us. So this is how they're doing it through our kids. And so I appreciate you being willing to come on. What would you say to parents?
What would I say to parents?
Yeah.
I don't think that they should be supporting the bathroom policy, because people are going to take advantage of it, and there could be a lot of bad things going on with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids do not feel safe with it.
They don't. You're talking to your friends and they don't feel safe?
No.
You know, I mean, if I hear that kids are already daring each other to walk in the bathroom just because they can. If they're going to dare them to do that, they're going to dare them to take photos. They're going to dare them to do whatever.
Exactly.
It's just a foolish policy, absolutely foolish. And the superintendent was kind enough to tell me less than 10 kids have asked for accommodation. So we're impacting a whole school body over this. Well, I thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. You're welcome to stay on if you like for a little bit. I'm going to go now to the parent. And this is not a family, just so you know. These are separate folks. We have a parent from the school district. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, and it's up to you whether you want to give your name or not. I'm not asking you to. Were you able to hear the conversation with the school superintendent?
I wasn't, but I did hear the conversation with the student. So
okay. So the superintendent, and I will give her credit for coming on, not knowing me, no preview interview. She just came on. That is courageous, and I do appreciate that. She mentioned the Title X funds, which is yada, 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 in my opinion, because obviously in the 70s they did not mean gender identity. And the federal funding, which is all the more reason to cut the Department of Ed. We'll be having somebody come on and talk about that later in this program. From a parent, where are you on this issue?
very very against it, not comfortable at all. And my two older children go to the Fairfield High School, and my daughter actually graduates next weekend. So they have to deal with the Fairfield school system, but our younger children, thankfully, are not going to that school. But if it were them in school, I would be very, very uncomfortable with my little girl in a bathroom with older male, you know.
Well, like we were talking with the student, these kids are daring each other, and just because they can, and so somebody's going to dare somebody to get a photo to prove it. It's just a matter of time. Our common sense, our horse sense, we all understand this is horse hockey. What about what are parents? I asked the doctor, and I'll give her credit. She was honest with me. She didn't try and spin, so the union will probably beat her up for this later, which I hate that. She said that there is a good amount of resistance.
Well, on Tuesday, my kids were contacting me, texting me, telling me how uncomfortable they were at school that day. And I told them to leave. I said, you know what, let's just leave, come home. I called the principal after that. I tried to discuss this with him, and we actually had a fairly lengthy conversation, but he basically told me that it's new law now, which I knew was not true. He said that I said, if this is really a issue, why don't we just have a transgender bathroom or something like that? And he said that would be too segregative. And so anyway, my kids came home, and like I said, my daughter's graduating. She will be done next Friday, and my son will be done shortly after that. And so we're going to stick out the next week or two. But after that, they are done at Fairfield School unless something changes. My daughter told me they had very specific instructions not to be using the public restrooms. They have one restroom in the school that you can use privately. It locks, and they are to use that restroom no matter how inconvenient it is for them, to change their clothes. They are not to shower at school. And my daughter told me that the other day she just didn't go to the bathroom until her lunchtime. She just waited until she could leave and go to lunch, and then she went to the bathroom.
I don't think anybody understands the pressure we're putting on these kids. I have said this for years on several shows. Your kids will not tell you the thing that frightens them most. They just don't. I don't know why. I don't have any studies to prove it, but I've talked to adults, I've talked to kids about this, and they all agree, yeah, no, I never told my parents the thing that scared me the most. The things that really frighten them, they're not going to share with you. So, thankfully, your daughter at least shared this with you. But to every parent out there, you need to understand your kids are not comfortable with this. And even if you ask them if they are, shame on you. Absolutely shame on you. You are the advocate, the parent that God gave your children. You are the keeper of those kids while they're on earth. And if you can't take it upon yourself to protect them from something so bold, so in your face as this.
Yes. I absolutely agree. And, you know, most kids will probably be hesitant on even saying anything to their parents because they don't want to be pulled out of school. They don't want to lose their friends. You know, this is kind of a conversation I'm struggling with my son, but we have to do what's in his best interest. And even if he's mad at me now, he will thank me later.
Absolutely.
And I feel like other parents need to consider that as well.
I think this is going to fuel the homeschooling movement. We've already seen the push. We'll be having Sheri from US PI, Parents in Education, come on later in the show to talk about withdrawing from the Department of Education and doing away from the Department of Education. It's the banter in the political cycle this year. This is a matter of time. I thank you for coming on. We have just 30 seconds left. Anything else you want to share with folks?
I just ask parents to stand up and fight for your children's rights. You know, this isn't just going to be a high school issue. This is going to be a grade school issue, too. And I feel that it's child abuse to even put those kids in that situation.
Chris, do we have Tanya Diddy on the phone? Is that who? All right. So she'll be joining us after the break. She's a state director of Concerned Women for America in Georgia, and she's written about this issue as well. So we'll be coming back. I thank you, the parent, the student, for staying with us. If you'd like to stay, well, I don't know how many phone lines we can have going here, but appreciate you taking the stand. And we are going to find help for you, working with Liberty Counsel or Thomas More or whoever it is, for advice that you parents can take.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it very much. We've got to go to break here. We'll be right back. 99.3 FM, Truth for Our Time. Tamara Scott.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
And thanks for staying with us. I am Tamara Scott. You are listening to Truth for Our Time, helping you when the headlines hit home, helping you live God's Word in today's world. So what a busy conversation we've had. Do you see why I love doing this? Because one, it's information I get to use and I need to use in my public policy work. But two, I just get to talk to a lot of really great people who are engaged and who do care. And that is tremendous. And I think we could probably do a 3-hour show on this. And Chris, we probably need 6 more lines to keep people going. So far we've had Dr. Laurie Noll, the superintendent from Fairfield, who I give credit to calling. She didn't know me, no pre-interview, and she just courageously called in, though we disagree on the issue. It was respectful, and I hope to have more dialogue with her for the best interest of our children. We had a student call in who had dealt with what had taken place in Fairfield High School, and we've had a parent call in, and the parent, I think, is still on the line as well. And now we have Tanya Diddy joining the conversation. Tanya Diddy is the state director for Concerned Women for America, the largest women's public policy organization in the nation, and education has been one of their issues from the beginning, along with parental rights, parental authority, and the family as God designed it. So, Tanya Diddy, thank you for joining me.
Thank
Thank you, Tamara.
You CWA women, one, are awesome. And I called you. I just sent a text to you, and man, you pop on. Thank you so much for being at the ready.
Well, it is a pleasure to be here today over a very disturbing topic.
So I know you wrote about this. So Georgia, fighting it, going along with it, what's Georgia's stance?
Well, right now, a group of faith leaders and pastors did submit a letter to our governor and our attorney general, state school superintendents for local schools, all the way down the line, asking them to basically shred this document and defy this decree coming out of the White House. Our governor has not been as strong as the other governors that we're reading about, who are really coming out and boldly telling the Department of Education and Department of Justice that we will not go along with this lawless decree. Our governor has been on record that he will protect the children of Georgia, but that was his press release the other day. So we responded to that saying, while we appreciate that, we really would like to see more boldness as we're seeing coming out of other states, along with our attorney general has somewhat protected, being in a protection mode for the kids, but not quite as bold as we would like to see in the other states.
And I'm trying to do a search right now online to see how many states have created resistance against this. And, of course, the most recent article I can find was 7 days ago. But there are others about specific states, but I wanted an overall view. Is it 13, 14 states I'm hearing that are already coming out?
Right, 13, 14, and they are, I believe that Texas just came out. Again, I mean, they're a leader of this, but they're coming out with even more bold statements. I believe, I think Pennsylvania, some of these states, they're not just saying, look, we think this is an overreach. They are coming out and they are boldly saying, we are prepared to take on whatever lawsuit is necessary. They're calling them what it is, that it is just a federal overreach. It has no merit. You cannot mandate what they're asking with federal funds, because it was never one of the mandates with federal funds. And I think that's where the frustration lies. Typically, when you take federal money, there is a list of responsibilities that come along with those taking federal funds. In this case, it wasn't. They said you take the federal funds, kind of like the Common Core. You pass the Common Core, and then we're going to give you everything else, that goes along with it. And that's what they're trying to do here, and it's lawless.
And, of course, we applaud North Carolina Governor McCrory, but also Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. He is just a stalwart. We appreciate Dan Forest and his walk and his witness and his boldness. They've stood strong. We had all these businesses come out against North Carolina hypocritically. The same businesses, PayPal and some of the others, do business with countries who put homosexuals in prison, who have the death penalty, but they aren't going to do business with a state because of a bathroom policy where we can ensure the safety of young girls and mothers and women. And here's the other thing I would say, was that the NBA said they weren't going to have a tournament again in North Carolina because of the bathroom bill?
Yes.
Well, here's what I'd say to the NBA. We're not going to come to another game until you put someone who feels like a woman on your NBA team, or feels like a man on your NBA teams. When I see a woman who's self-identified as a male on your NBA team, then we'll talk. But you don't do it because there's a difference. Because as much as we want equal opportunity for men and women, there is a difference.
There is. And I think what's so dangerous about this lawless decree coming out of the White House is that at least at the high school and the collegiate level, there is probably going to be a source of mixed gender on the sports teams, and that's what Title IX was all about. It was to give fair play to women, and now all of a sudden it seems like they want to strip that away, this decree, it to me, it really hurts women and all of the achievements that they tried to make for equity in sports and and getting, equal grant money, equal sports money. There has been a fight for decades saying, the men's sports always, benefited at the collegiate level. Now it's like this letter, if they follow through with it and the schools and the states follow through with it, it's going to shred all of that work, at least for women and equality in sports. What I don't want is a man being allowed to play on a girls' team and then a girl being allowed to play on a man's sports team, particularly like football. It's just it won't work physically. And
it will be dangerous. Why isn't the Olympics
very dangerous?
Why isn't the Olympics done away with the gender if it's such a good idea?
They haven't. I mean, they've definitely allowed some transgendered people to participate as their gender, but they certainly not made a statement like this. I think most common sense people will understand that there are physical differences, obviously, between men and women when it comes to sports. And this colleague letter that came out wants to do away with that and they just want to blend and blur all of these differences.
And of course, I'm not hoping to have mixed genders on teams. It's tongue-in-cheek. But my point being, you don't see any NBA team recruiting females or even transgender females who think they're now male. You don't see it. And so hypocritical of them to force this bathroom policy on North Carolina.
Yes, it definitely is a double standard. And I find it interesting as I've been reading through this topic that, it seems like those that are proponents of this blending of bathrooms, they're pretty silent on kind of the pushback. I think there's been such a robust pushback that we need to take heart on that, and we need to continue pushing back because common sense says that girls and boys don't need to be in the same bathrooms. I don't know if you saw the article out of the Charlotte Observer where there was a reporter that was telling little girls, look, you just need to, stop worrying about whether you're going to see male or female parts. I mean, they just are pushing this over the limits. But what we see it as is truly a privacy issue. I can give a great example. When I taught high school, I taught in an inner city school, and there were gangs there, and there was tremendous bullying, obviously, within the gangs. And we often had young ladies come afraid to go into the restrooms because there was so much intimidation going on in the restrooms because there was no adult supervision, and so they were allowed to go into adult bathrooms. Now think about this, and this is what I've tried to tell parents in our state. There is not enough teachers. There are not enough administrators, school workers combined to monitor what's going to be going on in those bathrooms and to protect those kids going on.
Folks,
so where at least at Target...
Yep, I got to stop you. We've got a hard break. We've got to go to a hard break. Folks, there's so much more I want to say. And she just mentioned Target, and we're seeing the drop in the dollar there. Stay tuned, 99.3 FM. We'll be right back with more.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I'd never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I want to thank my producer, Chris. You are doing a great job behind that glass. Thank you so much. We've got a busy day. You've got lines bleeping and blinking and whistles blowing. Thank you for everything. Tanya Diddy, we're going to close out that segment. Tanya, you're welcome to stay on. Sheri Few with US PI, Parents in Education, will be coming in, parents involved in education. But I want to give you a chance. CWFA.org, Concern Women for America, CWFA.org. And if folks will go to resources and check out the brochures, I know you have one called Facts versus Feeling, and you have a couple more on transgender. And anything else you'd like to say to folks that they can do? These parents are wondering, what can they do?
I'll tell you what they need to do. 2 things, Tamara. Number 1, they need to show up at the next school board meeting, and they need to sign up. Every school board meeting allows parents opportunity to speak, and I would sign up, and I would tell the school board on record that you want them to fight against this letter. Most school systems are not doing anything until the next school year, and so summer is an opportunity for parents to call their school board members, to call the superintendent, and to show up at the local school board meetings. And they need to express their concerns and why they do not want this. Parents are going to. Parents have got to be vocal on this. I heard you say earlier, these are their children. They're going to have to fight for their children, and this is trench warfare.
It absolutely
is. That's what I would recommend. If they live around their state capital, I would find out where their state school board meetings are, because you can also show up at the state school board meetings. Reach out to your state school board members, because a lot of state school boards are going to be leading on this issue and giving directives. In our state, the state school superintendent is leading on this.
All right.
And so it's an opportunity for parents to really get engaged, not only at their local level, but at their state level. But I think when push comes to shove, it's going to come down to the local school system, and that is where parents can have the most influence. We've been saying that for years on the fight on the Common Core.
Okay.
And so parents, they have got to show up at these school board meetings. They cannot be silent.
Tanya Diddy with Concern Women for America, you're welcome to stay on. Sheri Few with US PI, Parents Involved in Education, ran for state superintendent in her state. And Sheri, are you North Carolina? South Carolina. And so thank you for your stand. Tell us, you heard the conversation. Parents are wanting to know what they can do, and I know one of your big pushes is just getting rid of the Department of Education. Wouldn't we all be better off?
Absolutely, and that is the focus of our national organization called U.S. Parents Involved in Education. And we have a campaign called Stop Fed Ed that indeed targets the U.S. Department of Education, but beyond that, all federal education mandates, because we know even taking down the Department of Ed would not end the federal government's meddling, as we've seen with this most recent edict from our president forcing transgender bathroom rights, if you will.
So you are still very active in your state, and you're in an article called Greenville Online by Nathaniel Carey. And folks, I will try and get all this stuff on the Facebook page, if not the website. I'll probably get on the Facebook page, Truth for Our Time, more quickly than the TruthTamaraScott.com website. I'll try and get some of these links. There's links I've put on before, but we have one from the gentleman, I think if you titled What Every Parents of Transgender Children Should Know. He himself transgendered into a female and then transgendered back because like many, it was not what he thought it was. We're hearing Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner is also having regrets and wondering about transgendering back. And we have other studies now, John Hopkins, talking about the concerns that we're pushing on our kids. This is not healthy. And there are other issues, and here we are accommodating something that's not healthy for kids rather than helping them find real help. Sheri, in this article, you're going after your superintendent and asking him to resign?
Oh, absolutely. Our state superintendent of education came out the very day. She was one of the first superintendents across the nation. Came out the very day that Obama put out his executive order and said that she would have her school districts comply with this executive order. And, you know, we're in South Carolina. This is a very red state. And she seems to be confused about the state that she has been chosen to lead education in. This is not New York. It is not California. And the parents in our state are up.
I just lost my guest. Did I just lose all my guests or just Sheri? Lost them all. Well, that was kind of funny. Well, we're talking about the transgender bathroom issue, and I hope it has lit you up like it's lit these phone lines up. As a parent, a grandparent, even if you don't have children as a taxpayer, you ought to see the foolishness of this edict coming out of Obama administration. He does not have the authority to make law or to command or demand edicts. It's out of his purview. Beyond that, we should have local control. We shouldn't have the federal government telling us what to do. So there are several organizations, Concerned Women for America, we're talking to US PI, Parents Involved in Education. Mass Resistance has been on this issue for a long time. They've got a plan. There are several who are working on this, and you and your community, Tanya gave you great advice. Go to your school board meeting and let them know you are unhappy. Call your school. We had the Dr. Noll from the Fairfield. We give her credit for coming on. She admitted she's had several parents unhappy. She's getting more resistance than she is reception. You have no choice, parents. You have got to speak out about this. Is that Sheri back on line one? Sheri, thanks. I don't know how we lost you, but thanks for popping back on.
Okay, no problem. I was just talking away.
Give us a quick to tell parents what they need to do.
Okay. Well, in South Carolina, what we're encouraging parents to do is to not only attend their local school board meetings and speak out there at the local level, but also to call their state representative and ask them to put pressure on our state superintendent of education to reverse her position. And that's exactly what happened in Mississippi. 27 out of 32 legislators signed a letter telling their superintendent of education to reverse her decision or resign. So that's exactly what I'm calling on the legislators in our state to do, and I need parents throughout South Carolina, and this can happen in states all across the country, put pressure on your elected officials. They represent you, and you need to tell them that they need to protect the children in their state. Sheri
Few has been my guest. Sheri, FEW, and you can find them at USPI. Is it USPI.org?
USPI.org. And please go to the website and join the movement, because this is the first step, is to stop the federal mandates and the federal overreach into our state.
Listen, we're in the situation we are because we've been lax, we've been neglectful, derelict in our duties as parents. Congress has been derelict in their duties and standing against the executive branch. We had one branch overstepping their bounds and the other branch not fulfilling their obligation. So that's the issue we've got there. But parents, if you're not willing to stand up on this, frankly, you don't deserve the kids you have. It's time to stand up for your children. And this is, I know the compassion that we hear from the other side, and certainly we're not going to condemn anyone. This is not about making anyone feel bad. We want to work with all students and help them be the best, healthiest students they can be. But promoting something that we've got studies now beyond these scriptural references that is just unhealthy is not the best way to do it. Sheri, I hope you'll send a copy of that letter that went to the legislators to me, and we'll try and get it available to our folks as well. We are out of time. You have been informed. I hope you've been encouraged. There are many with you. Now never be complacent, because your kids will be the cost.